So, thought I'd make a different video than usual and go over how to grease a truck like this. Not a pickup, but a dump truck or something to haul a low boy. But I do this for work every Sunday. And seems like a lot of guys either don't grease at all or miss about half the point. So I thought I'd go over the best way to get it done and fastest way. It's pretty important to grease because stuff will wear out quickly, especially on these more of these off-road trucks, like these dump trucks. They're off-road as just as much as on-road, so they take a lot more abuse than the long-haul truck. But yeah, so I guess I'll go over what you want to do. So to make your job easier, you're gonna want to undo these hood straps, pull the hood open, because then you don't have to get on the ground to do the leaf spring and the kingpin and the steering components. You can do it all from up here, because laying on the ground is not much fun, especially when it's icy and wet. And I'd say dump trucks are more challenging to do because the box is getting away. So you're gonna want to get in the truck, start it up, and raise the boxes, because that'll make your job 100 times easier. And same thing on the pup trailer. And on dump trucks and all trucks, pretty much the same locations, except on dump trucks you have a couple of grease zerks on the cylinder here and on the back gate where it hinges. Right there, as you can see, right there. But other than that, most trucks are the same. The company I work for has a lot of dump trucks, so that's why you see here most of these are dump trucks and pup trailers. There's a lowboy and there's an end dump, but most trailers, you just gotta look around and you'll find what you want to grease. So you're gonna want an electric grease gun, because doing it by hand pump is horrible. It takes so much longer. Don't get enough grease in there. And this is all around easier. And you're gonna want a bunch of grease tubes. Probably takes about a grease tube per truck, and that is truck and pup trailer. And you're only holding it down for, you can hear it click, probably about 4 or 5 clicks or pumps, whatever you want to call it. And you're just gonna want some rags, like have up there, and some brake cleaner, so you don't get everything all greasy in your truck. And then I always wear coveralls and gloves, because you're gonna get real dirty unless you're in a shop greasing. But I'm usually out here, and it's a lot harder out here than it is in the shop, because you're rolling around on gravel. Is when you're greasing, depends on if your end is new and what your grease gun's like, but sometimes you'll put it on here, and I'll just do I'll put it on here, but sometimes if you don't push hard enough, the grease will just go out and splurge out like that looks. But like a new gun, they're gonna be way harder to get the end on, so you're gonna want to push pretty hard, and you'll know, because it makes a certain sound. You want it to sound like this, and if it doesn't sound like that, you either don't have it on right, or sometimes you might even be out of grease. But usually when you're out of grease, you can tell, because the gun doesn't jerk, and it just sounds different, feels different. But as you can see, it gets pretty messy. Just wanted to add that real quick. Another thing I forgot is, when you're greasing, you're always going to want to be checking for leaky wheel seals and how the brake pads are looking. You're going to be under there anyway. Just glance over. It's pretty easy to tell if a wheel seal is leaking. You'll see oil on the rim or leaking around the outside. It'll be extra greasy where it shouldn't be. And it's pretty easy to check that stuff, and it'll save the company and a mechanic a lot of time and headache. So I haven't put the boxes up yet, but I thought I'd just go over what you need to grease. I'm just gonna go over one side, and it's pretty much the exact same on the other side. I can show you with the boxes down. I just want to get going. I don't want to be here any longer than I am, so I'm just gonna go over real quick. So you got one on the front of the leaf spring. I already did the front ones. You got one here on the slack adjuster, top of the kingpin, 2 on the back of the leaf spring. You got one under here where you can see that grease drip, and you got one on the bottom of the kingpin. That's the exact same on the other side, but the other side does have 2 more on the steering linkage, but you just gotta look around and you'll find it. It's pretty obvious where to grease. And then some of the most important are on the tranny here. See that one hanging down? That's for your throwout bearing. Sometimes they have one hanging down like that. Sometimes you gotta reach your hand up in there. And then you'll have one on each side of the tranny, which you can't see on the video, but you gotta feel around. I guess you can kind of see it hanging down right there. There's one like it on the other side. And then you got the drop axle. You got one here, or one on the bottom of that slack adjuster right there. And then you got one right here. It's hard to see because the truck's been running for a week. And you got one on the bottom of this, which is, I'll try to show you, but it's just hard to see. Same thing on the other side. And you're not gonna want to forget all the U-joint. Man, it's so dark under here. On every U-joint there's one, and you just gotta feel around. So there's gonna be a U-joint there, one up front. There's gonna be one on that slider part of the drive shaft. Forgot what that's called. And then there's 2 more U-joints behind this diff. And then on each axle, for this is the back 2 axles, all the grease points are this same spot. So you got one, it's a slack adjuster right here. It's hard to see, but you're gonna have one on the back of that slack adjuster. It's real hard for you guys to see, I'm sorry, but so this is the drive shaft, and then you got the slack adjuster where that wire is going around, and you got one right there, but it's just too dark, I'm sorry. And then you'll have another one on the oh man, it's just so dark. This right there, right in the middle of the screen, you can barely see it. You got another one right there. And for these rear axles, there's really not a whole lot of grease points. You get out from under here, and as you can see, with the box up, you barely have to get on the ground. You usually have to get on the ground for those slack adjusters. Like you're gonna have to go from underneath here and reach up, and there's a slack adjuster on the rear axle. And then finally, you got these last 2 on the hinges of the box. And the pup trailer is pretty much the exact same points, except there might be like a couple more, and which I can just point out to you real quick. You'll have one on the back of this, and you'll have one up there, which a lot of times you can't get to, and sometimes there's grease points like this you can hit. And some trucks have little grease zerk zones on the frame, and there'll be a whole bunch of grease zerks, which make it way easier because there's lines. But on the pup trailer, you got on the front here, you got a kingpin zerk, one on the slack adjuster, one underneath the kingpin, and sometimes on the steering components there's some, but sometimes you can't get to them. Like that one will be hard to get to. And on the other axles, you'll have your slack adjuster on the right there, and you'll have one right there in the middle of the screen. You're gonna have one right there, and that is the same for that axle, and the rear axle is the same as that front one on the pup trailer, because you got one here, it's hard to see, one there, one on the side, another one on the side, and then another one on the bottom. You're gonna have another on the slack adjuster, and you might have a few on the steering components. Like, yeah, you see here on the top of this rod end here, there's one there. Then you're gonna have your normal zerk fitting on the hinges here. And I might have missed a few, but if I missed anything, I know you guys will let me know. But I'm not gonna actually take any video of me greasing because it gets pretty messy. I don't want to get my phone covered in grease, but I thought I'd just go over the best way to go about it, how you're gonna get it done fast enough, and how you're gonna make your trucks last as long as possible. Because if you don't grease, stuff's gonna wear out. It just gets worse and worse. Stuff's gonna be squeaking, and you just want to grease. This company I work for has me grease once a week, but I think you could go, depending on what you're using your trucks for, you can go every 2 weeks, every once a month. They just like their stuff greased. But I'm gonna start greasing here because I don't want to be here all day. But thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe. I'll try to make some more Jeep videos, but I thought this video would be a helpful one for you guys. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.